Hello everyone, welcome back to the course Autodesk Fusion 360 for beginners. And in this lesson, we'll continue our 3D modeling, in this case by applying some support here and also by creating extrude for the second sliding object. So stay tuned so that you don't miss this continuation of this 3D modeling of the desk drawer. And now we also want to create support for this moving or sliding object that we've created first. So you can select this space and create a sketch. So in this case, you can go to the toolbar and select create, scroll down until you find project or include and select on project because we want to project a line. So you can project this line, just this line in this case, and then you can click OK. Now you can use point rectangle and we want just this line in this case to be our reference, and then we can set in a random point like this and set the height in this case is 21 and clicking tab in our keyword to also set the width as 425 and then we can click OK. Now we can sketch dimension. So we can use sketch dimension and select in this case this line and also this line as well, because these will be our clearance in this case. So you can set it as 2 and then we can click OK. So that's our clearance. And now we also want to set the distance from this line to this line as well, and we can set it as 36 and then we can click OK. So that's it in this case. Now we can use modify. In this case we want to use fillet for this one, so we can select this part and add a small fillet as exactly 17 and then we can click OK. That's our small fillet. And now we can finish sketch. Now we can extrude it, so we can select it and go to extrude as exactly 21. It has to be 21 and make sure that the operation is set to join. And now we can click OK. And to make sure that your component is the right one, you can again check it by saying the components. We have two components as in the beginning. This is our support so that our sliding object doesn't fall down, because in real life we really need a support in real life, in real engineering applications. So now we also want to put this one in this corner as well. So we can select it and select extrude and change the start point to object. Now we can select this part as the object and set it as exactly 21 as well, the same one that we have right in there. We can set it manually as minus 21 in this case, and then the operation must be to join, and then we can click OK. So that's our second support. So our first support is done. So now let's extrude this part that we've created in this space. So you can select it and go to toolbar and select extrude. First we want to cut it a little bit before we start extruding. In this case you can cut it just to remove that part, and then we can click OK. Now we can go to browser and and hide our sketch. Is this one in this case? And also we want to extrude our clearance. In this case, we want to extrude it to cut. So you can go to the toolbar and select extrude, and we can zoom it a little bit to select this part which we want to cut in this case, and we can move this arrow to remove that part, our clearance in this case, and then we can click OK. Now we can hide this component a little bit, the bigger one in this case, so that we don't have mixed components. So we can select this component to extrude it in this case, and you can select on extrude and extrude it as exactly 451. In this case, it has to be minus because the direction is opposite. So you can put minus, writing it in our keyword in this case. And make sure that the operation is set to new components. And you can click OK. So that's it in this case. Now we also want to set these supports, but this support must be part of that component that we hide. So we can bring it back in this case to see them in this case. Now we can select these two sketches, extrude in this case, two of them, and first we want to cut this part. We can cut it and then click OK, and again select extrude. In this case, now is to join it, so you can select it and select this one as well so that we can join it, and you can push it to that part, and you see that it is making part of that of this component because we want it to join. The operation must be to join. Make sure that the operation is set to join, so you can move it in that position so that we can extrude it, and we can set it as 400, 700 in this case, and 43 as a try. It has to join that part in this case. You can increase it a little bit to 5 or 6 in this case, and make sure that the operation is set to join because we want it to join that part, not to cut, because it has to be the part of the same component. And now we can click OK. So that's it for this support. So now we can use by hiding it to create another shell. So we can go to our browser and hide this component and also the second component, and want to select this part and select on shell, and make sure that the operation is set to inside, in this case, and we can move this arrow. You can set it manually, which is faster as 18, because this will be our shell in this case, exactly as 18, and then we can click OK. Now we can create a sketch in this part, so we can select it and create a sketch because we want to cut it a little bit to reduce some of the parts. So you can use line tool just in this corner to here in this case. You can zoom it and also do the same thing in this corner, just so that we can cut it. and then we can finish sketch. Now we want to extrude it. In this case, we want to reduce it a little bit, so we can select it and then go to extrude and reduce this part just a little bit as -18, or we can increase it a little bit to 23, and then we can click OK. So that's it. In this case, now we can bring back those components and we can hide these sketches, and now we want to create another sketch at this part, so we can select it and create the sketch. So now we can use center diameter cycle and place it in the origin, in this case in the middle point. This will be our middle point where that triangle appear again in the horizontal and also in the vertical. That's it. So we can set it as 20, and then we can click OK. Now we can finish sketch, and now we can use construct, select offset plane, and now we can select this part and create an offset as 30. You can set it manually as 30, and then we can click OK. Now we want to select this offset plane and then create the sketch. We want to create a sketch there. So now we can use create just to project that rectangle. So we can project it and then click OK. Now we can use center diameter cycle again and place it in the origin of this triangle and also in the vertical plane. This is just to make sure that it is in the middle point, and we can set it as 30, and then we can click OK. Now we can finish sketch. And now we want to use loft again, so we can select loft and we can select this cycle, the bigger one in this case, and the second one will be the smallest one, which is here. So we can select it and you'll see that the loft was created there. And now we can finish sketch. So that's how it is done in Fusion 360. And that's all for this lesson. In lesson 20, we will continue by applying some joints. In this lesson, we'll just 3D modeling of this desk drawer assembly. And in the next lesson, we'll start applying some joints to continue and to have the sliding motion. So thank you all for being here until now, and I hope to see you all in the next lesson. And please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any upcoming lesson. Thank you all, and peace.